Hi, this is Pathweek. Welcome to another journey with us to Fort Aguada. Fort Aguada is a massive and marvelous citadel defining the landscape of Goa, with a historical legacy of about 400 years. Aguada Fort is a splendid example of the Portuguese military style of architecture. Fort Aguada, located in the Candolim, a small town in North Goa, was built by the Portuguese colonial rulers to prevent the entry of ships into the river Mandovi, thus protecting all Goa from the attacks of Dutch and Marathas. The fort was built in the span of 3 years, from 1609 to 1612. It was built under the supervision of Viceroy Rui Tavara. It became the most prized fortress for the Portuguese back in the 17th century. The material used to construct the fort is laterite stone. Laterite stone is often found in generous amounts in Goa. The word Aguada means freshwater in Portuguese language, and the fort derives its name from a freshwater spring located within it. It is recorded that crews of sailing ships used to refill their stock of potable water from this spring. The heart of the fort was protected by 200 cannons and a deep, dry moat. One still has to cross this to get inside. In 1864, a 4-storied lighthouse was erected within the fort's premises, and it is one of the oldest of its kind in Asia. The lighthouse at this initial stage used to emit light once in every 7 minutes. Later it was upgraded to emit light in every 30 seconds. The massive bell, which now resides within the Church of Immaculate Conception in Panaji, previously was a part of the lighthouse. For a long time after that, the fort served as a reference point for the ships and vessels sailing in from Europe. A tank with the capacity of storing 23 lakhs gallons of water was one of the biggest freshwater storage in whole of Asia at those times. The fort is categorized into 2 parts, the upper part and the lower part. The upper part was designed to serve as a fort and a huge watering station, while the lower part served as a safe berth for the ships belonging to the Portuguese rulers. The upper part has a moat, underground water storage, gunpowder room, lighthouse and bastions. The bastions surround the fort on 3 sides, while the 4th side has a gateway that faces the Mandovi River. Bastions were built on the 3 sides of the walls, ready to fire cannons at the enemies. The fort also has a secret escape passage to use during the time of war and emergency. The fort premises also houses a jail which was actively used during the administration of the 100th Prime Minister of Portugal, called Salazar. Several protesters demanding Goa's independence were sent to the prison in Aguada jail, and the people who fought against the British rule for the freedom of India were also jailed there. St. Lawrence Church is just 1.4 kilometers from Fort Aguada. Built in 1630, it was believed that the Portuguese built churches around the forts to keep enemies at bay and to prevent the enemy soldiers from firing at the fort at a close range. St. Lawrence is one among the oldest Portuguese churches. Aguada Fort was one of those few forts in India that has never been conquered by an enemy. When you visit Goa, visit Aguada Fort. The Aguada Fort is easily accessible from Panaji and Mapusa through local buses, taxis and motorbikes. It's at a distance of 15 kilometers from Panjim Kadamba Bus Stand, 4 kilometers from Candolim, 49 kilometers from Margao Railway Station. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next wonderful location.